We got another interesting political conversation going on Twitter where a person says, when was the last time you saw a left-wing gaming clan? The reactionary politics is baked into the mechanics, and they're exposed to it as increasingly younger ages where the primary social contact with people who get them enforce hierarchies of competition. So, what exactly would a gaming clan even look like to be able to answer your definition? I mean, I know very progressive people playing video games. I know of a couple of people even doing role-playing games with very progressive campaigns and whatnot. I mean, there's even Warhammer 40k Feminist Edition. So, I mean, how far left are you? Because if you're incredibly far left, you might look to your right and you might consider, oh, well, they're clearly reactionary, even if they're far left as you. I mean, in the 90s, a left-wing gaming clan would have probably been someone that had LGBT elements within their game, and they were for freedom and hippie-like. But now those people would probably be reactionaries if they don't go along with the leftist orthodoxy. So what exactly is a left-wing gaming group? And secondly, how fragile are leftists? Okay, because apparently in order for you to enjoy a game, it need to have your politics baked into it. So I, for example, who value liberty and freedom, should not enjoy Warhammer 40k because it has fascism baked into it. Or I should not enjoy a game that is communist-oriented. I think there was a city builder in the Soviet Union. That was a great game. I shouldn't be able to enjoy that because it has the Soviet mindset. So this is very bizarre. I think only the far left thinks like this. Well, actually, no. If I think about it, it's authoritarians in general. I mean, there were some religious people that would not like any entertainment that has magic in it, or but at least they would justify it because it's sinful. They wouldn't say that they don't necessarily like it. Like a religious person could say, yeah, I like AC/DC, I like the song, I like the lyrics, but I don't like the message, and I think that if I listen to it, it's sinful. I mean, religious people would say that, yeah, like sin is pleasurable, but we don't do it because we want to be virtuous. So they would have this explanation. But when you look at the far left, it's like, no, unless it's literally 100% far less talking points and far less topics, they don't like it. And then this person goes on and says, competitive games are designed to attract people who like conquering. Why do you think 4X games are so prone to fan bases who are viscerally reactionary gaming? It's in the genre definition. It's a colonialism power fantasy. So you are now pushing an ideology that's anti-human. Human beings are competitive by nature, and they also collaborate by nature. So human beings form groups, tribes, and they compete with each other. And human beings are also very territorial. This is why you have colonialism and expansionism and everything. Human beings are territorial by nature. So you want art not to express these human elements. It's like trying to remove love from art. Love is a human emotion. Like, if you're going to remove love from art, it would be an anti-humanist type of art. I mean, you can't do this. But anyway, which makes sense because it's derived from Kriegspiel, a teaching tool they used in Prussian military academies to simulate warfare for officers. So this is, like the left likes to think that they're more intelligent than everyone else, but they keep using these logical fallacies. And this logical fallacy is the genetic fallacy. The genetic fallacy means that if something has bad origins or was used for something in the past, it can't be used for something different today. So in other words, splitting the atom was first used in order to create the nuclear bomb. But that doesn't mean we can't use the atom in order to power up a city with a nuclear power plant. The first usage of chemical, like mustard gas, was in war. It was to kill people. But that doesn't mean we can't use it in order to fertilize plants. So just because like some Kriegspiel was used in the military to train soldiers, doesn't mean that a game like Civilization cannot be played by people who are peace-loving hippies. I mean, it's fictional, it's make-believe, it's not real. And even then you can play like a 4X game, like Civilization, without being a warmonger. Like that is the cool aspect of 4X games. Like you can use Civilization in order to push your message. You can even use communism. I think it was Civilization 5, which allowed your nation to develop into liberty, fascism, or communism. So you could have become a communist industrial powerhouse and not declare war on anyone and just try to go for a cultural or a scientific victory. So, like you have these people just speaking out things that they probably learned in academia, because this is what horrifies me. This is what the experts are saying. It's not like this guy just synthesizes what a lot of progressive think. If you go on progressive forum, this is what they're talking about. But it's not real. I mean, it's debunked by reality. They're on the front lines of the excess of capitalism. The only message they receive is, when my guy was in, things were fine. Now I have to be the guy or make the guy. They need a despot to rule them and tell them what to do because their entire social hierarchy depends on it. Every single human civilization throughout existence had a despot. Whether it's capitalism, whereas the Soviet Union, like even tribes that we found in America, which were separated from Europe, they had the village chieftain, they have the shaman, they had like all of these people. A small community that's like a family and then an extended family, like, yeah, sure, they can have a commune. But when you're talking about tens of thousands of people, you're going to have a despot. The only difference, I guess, is the checks and balances on the despot. I mean, in some places like North Korea, the despot can kill people and get away with it. In other places like America, it's a little bit more difficult, but there's always a despot. So again, like, it's an anti-human ideology. It's an anti-human way of thinking. Human beings aren't like this. Like, you want to create robots and program them on how to be perfect. But human beings aren't perfect. They're flawed. If leftists want to convert gamers to leftist politics, they have to do on-the-ground advocacy in an engaging way via clans, esports teams, and larger communities. However, they will always struggle against the fundamental mechanics of these games select for this behavior. So the idea that leftists do not appreciate competition is ridiculous. I mean, the Soviet Union promoted competition, China promoted competition, but again, like, maybe these people are so far to the left that they're into La La Land that they don't even believe that these nations are leftist to begin with. So I guess, like, they have some ideological utopian standards, and unless an actual human society lives up to the standards, then they're not leftist. Leftist politics in games start with games that foster community, cooperation, installed at the mechanical level that you can work together. There actually are those types of games, right? I mean, there's city builders, there's Minecraft servers, you can even have that Ark game where you can just turn off combat. I mean, there are games that do this. They're not attracting a leftist crowd, they're just attracting people that want to have fun. Like, most people don't get into games because they want to change the world. They get into games because they're tired from work and they want to relax. So there's the other thing. Games apps, they're all designed to grind up, keep you exhaustively dependent on them as possible to drive up metrics. So that's not really true. I mean, some games are designed to do that, but there are other games that aren't. I mean, you can play games from the 90s that don't have DLC, they don't have any of these things. And I mean, you can enjoy them, but I think gaming itself is addictive to people who like gaming. I mean, my mom is not going to get addicted on gaming because she doesn't like gaming. But if it's an activity that you like to do, like, everything that's fun can be addictive. Even food can be addictive, and you need food to live. And there are people addicted to food. Reading books can be addictive. I mean, you finish reading a book and then you start reading another one. And before you know it, So, while some games are designed to be addictive, at the end of the day, it depends on the person, like the level of self-control. But when does leftist ideology ever teach us about self-control and virtuous things? I mean, what is virtue to a leftist? Do they even know what that word means? Do they even, like, when is a progressive ideology advocating for virtue? Right? So, what exactly is self-control? When do they advocate for self-control in anything? Like, show me a left-leaning politician or talking head or university professor or even like a person on the Twitter that has like a hammer and sickle in the bio or pronouns or whatever. Like a far leftist, not just a regular left. A far leftist that advocates for self-restraint and personal responsibility. No, because the entire ideology is surrounded on collectivism. It's like the masses, the groups of people. It doesn't talk about the individual. So the individual cannot have self-control because he doesn't matter in this picture. It's only society, and the only way to have self-control is by banning things. That's why leftists are in favor of banning things, because they don't believe in self-control. They don't think like a person should be able to spend only 4 hours playing video games. So they think the government, like in China, should ban people from spending more than that. Because if it's not banned, then it's allowed. And if it's allowed, people will do it, because there is no self-control. So that's probably one of the mindsets. But anyway, I found this to be enlightening. And again, this person just synthesized what a lot of other people on the left think, including academics. And I seen this in academic papers suggesting that the reason games aren't more inclusive is because they don't reflect the politics that are more proper, that decent folk enjoy. And it's like, no, that's not the case. I mean, you can have a dark horror survival game. Okay, I wouldn't like being chased around by zombies, but I do play the game because it's fictional, it's enjoyable. So let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in the comment section. Take care.